Alright everyone, well, welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We're loading in for trial number 1 of Existence versus Iridescent. We're on the Midwich, and it's going to be a good old-fashioned Dredge game. I'm your host, Little Beer Girl, and joining me today is none other than Contra. How you doing, friend?
Hello, I am doing good. I hope you are as well, and I'm excited to get into this matchup. And right now we are starting out, of course, with the Dredge on Midwich, and I am seeing an add-on I don't normally see a whole lot on Dredge. I believe that's the Automarian Riding, so that will reduce the cooldown of, I think, the Remnant ability by 2 seconds when not in Nightfall. I think it's an interesting add-on. I don't see normally random. We're used to seeing Malthinker's Skull, as some people in the background said before this game started, so I'm interested to see if we'll see any value with that. But we are seeing the first chase come in onto Yoichi, and a lot of these Midwich games, Rue, I think just comes down to that first chase. These survivors, they can take their hits, use their distance, throw these god pallets, and buy a lot of time for their teammates. But if they don't play safe and they get an early first down, we see a lot of Dredge games snowball into 4Ks with gens remaining. So I'm excited to see how this goes. So I mean, this Yoichi is doing pretty good on this chase so far. Does have this pallet, and I believe the window here as well, as our Dredge actually leaving.
Yeah, let's say they spotted Nia and is going to be going for this rower instead. Like you said, depends on the first chase, but obviously if you can, afford to get a couple tags, put that Sloppy Butcher in hand, get a couple hits going, maybe cause a little bit of chaos and stress on those survivor comms, you might be able to make something out of it. However, there is no winner here, so this will be a tag. You're running away. Now the question is, do they teleport from here? Yeah, they do. They're going to be going right back to another generator. We do have Ruin in play, so any and all harassment that you can do here is definitely valuable. However, nobody is on that generator anymore, and they'll be looking around, seeing if anybody's on the piano gen. Oh, there's no way.
Oh, we do see another perk revealed here. As you mentioned, we do have Sloppy Butcher to make those resets a little bit slower, and now we see that Sharpie has Nurse's Calling, so it did catch out that reset, and now this is looking a little bit scary for Existence. They did pop that first generator, but we have a slug on the ground while Sharpie is pressuring an injured Nia right here. So if they're able to get both of these downs, this could be the momentum that Sharpie needs, and we are seeing this down come in as well. And I think this is what Sharpie needed. That interrupting that reset was good, but I wonder why they didn't go back for the Yoichi. It looks like they didn't have enough time anyway.
Yeah,
maybe they were aware of that and just took this pickup. So I think that was a nice, safe play from Sharpie. But yeah, we are seeing Nightfall start and some Killer Instinct, Rue.
True. I'm about to say they spot at least 2 survivors. And we did see Jolt on that one generator, regressing a little bit further, but Ruin's still in play. I really like this build, if I'm being honest. Like the last time I saw Sloppy Butcher Nurse's Calling was probably 2 years ago. So bringing it back into style and actually doing some good value with it. Very impressive. Looking around, maybe seeing if there's a survivor in the vicinity, but I think they've all left. We do see the unhook coming in onto Nia. In the meantime, going to be leaving Yoichi once again on the ground. I think they actually want to teleport over, see if they can find this in this reset and interrupt it. Looks like they do be able to get it off, but they are going to see the survivors down there with the Killer Instinct. Another question is, can they fall if there's no lockers down there, it seems like.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. At least not that many. But yeah, we do get the teleport, and we are coming down here. The chase is coming in onto the Nia, who gets that pallet stun. And remember, Nia was the survivor that was hooked previously, so Sharpie might be interested in committing to this for a potential tunnel out. But Existence on the survivor side here doing what they need to do. They went through those resets and got most of everybody healthy, and now the Dredge is not a very strong anti-loop killer, so they will have to chew through both these health states to get a down onto Nia. And we are seeing Nightfall come to an not come to an end. Oh, it is ending. I think the HUD was a little bugged. So yeah, no more Nightfall. We just got out of Nightfall, so Nia doesn't have to worry about any crazy fast teleports. But coming into the courtyard, not the safest area. We do have these 2 pallets here. We might see Nia try to build this Dredge a house. Not really sure, but not the safest setup. Does have that pallet drop there, but Rue, if this second stage comes in soon, I think Sharpie might have a chance at getting this momentum back.
Very good point. And worth noting is that one thing we mentioned there with the teleports, the survivors actually have a really good job so far, and there's Ruin going down. They have a really good job so far. They get that over the pallet. They've been really good about locking these lockers, and so most of these teleports have been kind of voided by, like, again, they've just locked strategically everything that matters, and definitely giving these survivors a little bit of breath of fresh air as they are able to pre-run a little bit earlier. But surprisingly, leaving Nia on the ground a little bit, maybe just worried about oh, but they actually have a survivor back here. That means they might be able to get a second tag.
Oh yeah, Sharpie is pretty much guaranteed another injury right here. This pallet isn't very safe. Actually opting to drop it, so we'll have to commit a little bit further away to get this injury onto Yoichi. We do see the double vaults. So far, no tag coming in yet, and Yoichi might be getting away from this. Rue, I'm eating my words. I thought that Yoichi was definitely getting injured there, but I think a little bit of a mistake maybe by Sharpie to break that pallet. You could definitely force a hit there, but maybe they did not want to wait for their power to come back and just wanted to go for a quick tag. But either way, we do see hook stage number 2 coming in onto Nia, and the survivors have already completed 3 generators. So right now, I really just think it all comes down to how much generator progress they currently have. We do see our ace player Colossus about 70% on this one, but if I'm on Team Existence here, I would want to make sure that before this death happens, we're definitely at 1 generator remaining.
Right.
Because going into a 3v1 with 2 gens left and Ruin and Surge still in play, or sorry, Ruin has actually been cleansed, but Surge still in play can definitely hurt and regress those gens a lot on this map. Surge will hit those generators a lot on a 2-story map like this. So, yep, for the people play Rue, that is exactly what Existence needs, because now Sharpie might commit for this tunnel out, but it'll take a lot longer. And if that for the people can keep Nia alive for a while, that is going to be very, very good for Existence and will buy them a lot of much needed time. And we're actually seeing Sharpie leave, which honestly, I think I would too. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's a losing game if you commit to that after for the people.
Right. I mean, they had a bunch of safe pallets that were still at their disposal. They were still going to make a lot of distance. And honestly, you knew this gem was being regressed or not worked on. And so it does make sense. Great fake, but Ace reading it really well. They will take a tag inevitably. And actually, I'm about to say the drop and the stagger could have got them, but they will be stuck at this pallet. This is not a good pallet if you are playing against the Dredge, and they will end up going down over the top of it. Well, okay. They will end up going down, but not in time. And just narrowly avoiding getting a jolt onto the gen up top, and he'll be leaving him on tally. And now the 5th gen pops. This was looking like a good start for the Dredge, and now it is quickly slipping away.
Oh yeah, we weren't aware of 2 generators that had a lot of progress. So the survivors actually popped all 5 gens now, and this is one of those things where you know Surge is just such a good perk on this map. With a killer like the Dredge, every attack is a basic attack. It'll always proc, but that gen was so far away. It's almost like situationally, Eruption could have maybe been a better pick here, but you never really know what will give you more value before going into the match. So Surge is not going to save that last gen from popping, and that is hook number 3 of the game. So I do think we are going to see the survivors attempt to pull this, because Ace is fresh. That is their first time on the hook, and if they were to die, that would be 5 stages, which still not a bad result for Existence. But with everybody healthy and this hook relatively close to these gates, I think we'll definitely see them go for an unhook play here.
Yeah, we see everyone in the wings. Looks like Nia will be coming in. It does make sense, as Nia is worth the least amount of points now. They will be going down, setting up body blocks in the distance. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see a head-on potentially being set up here. Do you check the locker?
No, I think we saw all 3 survivors there.
Oh no, they thought this was a window. Nope. And now the question is she on top of the locker or hatch? Nope, not on top of the hatch.
A little unfortunate for Sharpie. I think you called it out. They thought they were at the other exit gate and tried to cut them off, but there's actually no entrance or doorway there. So all 3 of those survivors will be leaving the exit gates, and we'll see if they can find Nia. Yeah, Hatch was over here, but Nia will not be getting it. So Sharpie, if they can find Nia and hook them, will be walking away. There we go. Now we finally have a Mori. You know, I've complained about that before when I've casted games. You don't ever see these endgame Moris, but we finally have one. So that will result in a 4 hook stage game for Existence on the survivor side. And Rue, I do think that is a very, very good result to go into before they get ready to play for killer here.
About to say, yeah, that is giving their killer a very nice win condition to try to meet. So
hello everybody, welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We're here with the second trial of the matchup for Existence versus Iridescent. And Rue, last match we just saw Existence on the survivor side walk out with only 4 hook stages given up. So their killer this match only needs to get 5 stages, or even 4 stages with 3 fresh hooks, I believe would still be a win. So going into this, I think Existence on the killer definitely does have a little bit of a more lax win con, you could say, and we're already seeing a very early hit. So Iridescent is kind of jumping into this a little bit quickly, playing a little aggressive, and we do have the first chase on a Vittorio player here. So Rue, if this down comes in fast, that is a hook stage already given up. That Iridescent can't afford so early. This is looking scary. This is not a safe area.
It really isn't, and like you said, this is a very early chase and a very early down to boot. We see Jolt firing off 2 separate gens, so you know exactly where survivors are based on those explosions. And honestly, for how early this is, I think you're just kind of happy and content to take this. And that's gonna be first hook coming in. One thing worth noting is that I think, like you said, you'd have to get only 4 stages. If you want to go like 1 stage fresh on everyone, you could just, you know, rotate your pain resonance, but not hitting a pain res hook, so maybe just a different plan. They might also just be playing this very standard. Like we've seen really simple win cons and teams still play a standard, get your tunnel out, force a 3v1, and you know, try to hold it from a couple gens off. But obviously survivors are well aware of this, and ooh, winning the mind game over the pallet, and Ace actually gets out of here kind of scot-free.
Oh yeah, that was a very close hit, but Ace just went through that vault and narrowly avoided that swing. And they are going to also make this pallet and get us done. So you know that first chase, that first hit and first down may have happened pretty quickly, but this is the kind of play we need to see from Iridescent if they want to come back and get the momentum back. We're not giving away any extra free tags over here. We are following this Nia in this chase. Does give that does drop that pallet nice and early, playing that safe, and right now is just kind of playing 50s on this, but they win. They actually get a lot of distance, and they are able to path into this pallet here. And interesting, we're not seeing our Dredge player here go back to hook, so maybe not interested in that tunneling playstyle. They are going to drop this chase from Nancy, or from Nia, excuse me, because she just had so much distance there, and maybe they're worried about their gens, but we are seeing them regress as soon as they leave, so we know Hex Ruin is in play. We do have Sloppy Butcher yet again this match, so if the killer gets any tags here, that'll be more meaningful. And right now, it's slowed down a little bit for Existence Killer here. We don't have a chase on anyone, and everybody's been reset here, so we have 4 healthy survivors, and yeah, Rude right now looking a little bit better for Iridescent, but we do have a Nightfall to worry about.
True, Nightfall is in play. We're only 1/4 of the way through. They will actually once again win this 50 against the killer, doing a really good job around this side. Yeah, Ruin's been doing a really good job. Again, Ruin and Sloppy just kind of like the bread and butter of this killer, and they will get a tag through the remnant, and immediately going back into the map, going through the side again, kind of where they were chasing before, but this time a little bit less lucky on the 50-50s, and holding, and just again really good patience from the survivor, good reaction time. But that is going to be a break on this pallet. We see a little bit of killer instinct back where that gen was, and actually they are gonna be able to catch up here. If there's no pallet to the right, this is gonna be a down, but there is once again God pallet able to bail Nia out, almost out of Nightfall now, and Dredge is gonna go all the way back to the other area. They do finish another gen. No, that was a separate gen that fired. I thought there was one right in front of them.
Uh-oh, Rue. If I was killing for Existence right now, I would start feeling the pressure a little bit. That was a good start. We do have 1 hook stage, but these survivors are doing such a good job. They aren't getting injured when they don't need to be. They're playing nice and safe. We did see some good chases by the Nia player there, winning a lot of those 50s and then dropping that God pallet, avoiding that down. And we see our second generator of the game pop. So right now, our Existence Killer needs to make something happen. We are seeing another tag come in on the Vittorio, and he was hooked earlier, so we might see them commit to this. Maybe it's not too late for a tunnel out if they can end this chase quickly, and I think that might be their best bet here. Vittorio is dropping that pallet, does have the window, and does cancel the power, so yep, Vittorio does not make that window. Third generator has popped through, and we are getting onto our second hook stage. I think this could go either way. I think if the survivors have good chases from here on out, this win con isn't impossible.
Very, very true. The survivors have had very, very solid chases, wasting a lot of the killer's time. Second hook coming in for Vittorio. They get the reset on to Nia in the meantime, and now looking for their next chase, or preferably to find a generator, as Ruin is still up. They're gonna be able to regress whatever they find pretty simply. Or actually, do you camp and secure this? I don't know if you have the time to.
It's a little risky. If you camp and secure this and the survivors double 1 gen and then pop another one on their own, you're only walking away there with 4 hook stages, which would be a tie. And you know, if you have a bad chase and they take hits and body blocks the exit gate, for example, that could be a tie. And I feel like Existence here probably wants to walk away from the set with a win. It would feel a little bit better. And the tag does come in onto Ace. We do see Nia is now broken with healthy Vittoria. So we saw 4 of the people come in. There isn't going to be a ton of lot happening anytime in the near future. So I think at this point, our killer for Existence here just wants to spread these fresh hooks and try and get those in. Because remember, 4 stages can be a win as long as they hook 3 different survivors. That is still going to be, because of the fresh hooks, that would still be a win for Existence here. So I think this killer is just going to take any hook that they can here.
Ooh, they teleported on top, and that is survivors down below instead, but they are still in Nightfall, so that power is going to come back off cooldown really quickly. They do have 300 survivors. That is quite a bit of especially when you're in Nightfall still. This is kind of the nightmare scenario for survivors. This is where the snowball can be happening, and they do actually get on top of the Nancy. That's going to be a jolt firing off onto the gen in the distance. Looking around, teleporting back to the gen. This is where they know Nancy was on initially and is still regressing. So I think survivors are just now probably going to start looking to reset as Nightfall comes out, and we see that Nia's no longer broken from the 4 of the people. But that's the other thing about Midwich. There's not a lot of rooms where you can't be found through Killer Instinct.
Yeah, that is true, especially whenever the Dredge isn't in a chase. They can just teleport around and get information on those survivors. We aren't seeing a Nurse's Calling so far into the match, but that Killer Instinct does give our Dredge a lot of value there, and doesn't find a tag or a down anywhere else. So they are going to be taking this hook on to Nancy, and this looks like it'll be our 3rd hook stage. We have 2 on Vittorio and now 1 on Nancy. So 2 more stages would be a win for Existence. And right now we have 1 generator, very high progress. Vittorio is about 90% on that gen, but we do catch out an injured Nia here, and that down came in. We did hear a scream, so we know Surge is in play yet again. It did hit 2 generators, if I'm not mistaken, so that is a lot of perk value. And we are seeing the slugging come in because we have Nightfall. We can get around the map really fast, and this is what Existence Killer needs. They need to find a little snowball here, get some more stages, and they can come back from this. The 4th generator does pop, and right now, Rue, we only have 1 survivor up on their feet, able to do things.
And that generator told them exactly where they were. I'm surprised they pushed for that generator. I'm also surprised they didn't just go for the hook on Nia, as that was the win con straight up. But again, not content with just the win con. They want the best possible results. And, you know, I respect the grind. And, I mean, 4K1's a really dang good result if they're able to pull this one off. Sitting on the back of the Vittorio, not able. Actually, no, they did get the pickup onto Nia. Nia's gonna be running for their life, as Vittorio probably gonna be running to the other side to get the unhook. In the meantime, gonna see if it's gonna be able to be enough, but that's gonna be down onto Nia. We see Surge once again procking off, and they be teleporting. I imagine they go upstairs, and they do find them, cut them off, and that will be 4K1 secure. There is no Unbreakable, no Deliverance, nothing. And I mean, well played. They absolutely knocked this game out of the park.
I agree, Rue, with how that game started at the beginning, where that early first injury and that quick first hook. I did think that Iridescent was going to have a hard time coming back from that, but they had their momentum in their hands for quite a while. We did see a lot of chases that this Dredge walked away from without anything, no tag, no down, and they did deny hooks for a while there. But we did see, as we commonly do on Midwich Dredge, there was that Nightfall snowball, and it just resulted in the 4K1. And you know, I do agree with you. They could have just hooked that. I think it was the Nia player earlier in the game and gotten that 4 hook stages, 3 fresh win con, but they were, as you said, playing for the best possible result. And I do think that makes for a lot of entertaining games here, because if they had gotten that pick, I think all these generators would have popped and the result would still be the same. But I mean, seeing all the survivors select through Nightfall, you know, in my opinion, is just a lot more fun.
Indeed, and just looking around for this last survivor, even if they do bleed out and miss a fresh stage, it's not going to matter, as they have achieved a very, very solid win condition regardless. I will say, it's crazy how many back-to-back 50s this killer lost in the middle of the game. Like,
yeah.
They could not get a hit or a down onto anyone. Every person they chased was just 50 after 50, just constantly perfectly vaulting, and it's like, it's those moments where the killer's like, what am I doing wrong? Are they in my head? Are they psychic? Like, what is going on here? And they didn't let it get to the better of them, because some killers would be like, all right, I'm just mauling at this point. I'm crashing out. Like, how do you win this many 50s back to back? But no. Zulf definitely held it together and played very, very well and earned a very strong victory for their team.
Yeah, very well said. And you know, I'll be honest, I am very guilty of letting that hurt my mentality, especially if I'm playing a killer like Nurse or Blight. Those misses punish you so much, and it is hard to let it. It is easy to let it impact your performance, but our killer for existence here just kept playing clean throughout the match, didn't let it get to them all that much. And right now, I will say they did a very good job at bringing that game back with that tough mid game, but they are
Hmm.
struggling a little bit to find that slug. I mean, as you said, even if the survivor bleeds out, it will not matter. The win condition has been exceeded at this point. But as soon as that slug gets found, the game will pretty much be over, and we will see Existence take this first set. And I did want to mention that Iridescent killed first, so this was the set that Iridescent picked, and Existence will be walking away with the win. So they will probably be going into set number 2 with a little bit more confidence here, because they walked away from the set that they may be expected to possibly lose, and they ended up taking it. So that should be pretty good for Existence and their mental. And Rue, we do have a pig game in the next set, but I do want you to talk about it a little bit here, because it's not on the traditional map we see for pig, is it?
I was about to say, you want to hear me crash out a little bit myself as yeah, pig on Midwich, pig on Larry's makes sense. They're pseudo stealth. We're gonna be going to the Dead Dog Saloon. Like, all right, everyone, welcome back to Champions of the Fog. We are here to crash out as we watch Pig on the Dead Dog Saloon. Everyone, get your popcorn, get a blanket, get nice and comfy, because we're in for a roller coaster ride. And Contra and I are riding front shotgun seats on that roller coaster. How you feeling about this one, friend?
I'm feeling curious, because I really want to know how a killer like the pig can perform on this map, because we do know that for a lot of things, she's pretty much just an M1 killer, right? Unless you
Yeah.
give her palette control on a kind of unsafe palette, she can almost always get a hit. But this is not one of those kinds of maps for like one whole half of the map. We have the strong main building and then some other structures with windows there. So without a chase perk to help out, I feel like she might struggle a little bit. But we do see that first hit come in onto our Quentin player, who maybe was not expecting her to just walk all the way through that, and running immediately to main building as kind of expected here versus the pig. And this wall being broken out early might be paying off here. Bloodlust 1 is coming in, and I think that is a very early down, a lot earlier than I expected. Rue, we have a potential hook before we have a gen pop. This could be good for our killer.
About to say, getting that first down before that the first gen so they can put that head trap on is definitely working in the killer's favor here. What's interesting to me is they're not really chasing with Bamboozle much, so again, I would always feel like Bamboozle's a must on this map, but maybe they got something else in plan. Obviously, Corrupt Intervention didn't last super long. That's a Pain res coming in, and also Gift of Pain, so that's why we didn't see Sloppy Butcher. I'm actually kind of vibing to the idea that Gift of Pain, when used correctly, is actually almost better than Sloppy.
Sometimes, yeah, I agree, because you have to remember Sloppy Butcher does not get applied on M1 hits, and Pig,
Yeah.
of course, will mostly be getting hit on M1s with M1s, but on a lot of killers that hit with their power a lot, Gift of Pain can be very good. It'll make them take longer to reset, but then if you transfer the total to somebody else, you have one survivor who does gens, 16% slower, so sometimes it can be some very good passive slowdown. And we are seeing a tag come in onto Vittorio here, and I think our killer is committing to this. They aren't going back to hook for a tunnel out. I think they just want to make sure Quentin is forced to waste time getting those boxes searched to get rid of that reverse bear trap. So we are seeing them commit to the second chase onto Vittorio here, and it does make the main building. Rue, I was gonna say, without Bamboozle, as you mentioned, these chases at main should be long, but that first one is really short. So I am curious to see if Vittorio is able to buy some time here.
Interesting. So I'm
Spoke too
guessing
soon.
that's just be like, hey, Totem's here. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
why
totem
they
is
have
definitely
boil
calm.
over.
Uh-oh, Rue.
Oh, you
Wait.
sadist.
Oh no, they might be playing for a wiggle out here. I don't think, even with tenacity, or even with flip flop, I don't think they recovered enough to wiggle here. It'll be close, but no, they definitely make it. Nia came in for a hit, but they vacuumed into the hook in time. So actually, that might backfire. Nia might be giving a free tag here for that hit take attempt, but does play that palette pretty well. Doesn't fall for any of these mind games, and is getting hit eventually, but taking her distance, going far away from the hook. But Rue, Pig right now is, like I said, I thought she would struggle, but their existence killer has 2 hook stages before a single gen has been done, and you can't forget we have one survivor who has to worry about that reverse bear trap. So
True.
a way better start on the killer side than I expected.
Yeah, survivors are definitely not in the position they'd want to be in this moment. Again, it could also be that there's a vast amount of perk restrictions on the pig, so that might also be to the killer's credit here. Tag on to Nancy, and now everyone's injured. And if they want to go back and harass that unhook, that actually just means that no one can really come in for that unhook, but they're not going to get there in time, so somebody will get here for the unhook. Looks like it might have been Quentin, which means that both the survivors with the head traps are being in chase right now. Don't know how many boxes they've had a chance to search, but they're going right back in chase with Vittorio. Vittorio might actually be in a little bit pickle here.
Yeah, he might be, and I did want to mention the... Ooh, that swing does not land, so that is some time bot for Iridescent here, but I did want to briefly touch on the add-ons that our killer player here brought, because they opted for the Creative Gears and Tampered Timer, which basically means that these survivors have to spend a lot more time searching these boxes, and they have less time to get the trap off their heads once it's activated before their head pops. So if we see our killer player like kind of interrupt them on these searches, we might see some value come out from that. But either way, Rue, I think it's good to slow down to make them take longer. Even if we don't see any head pops, that add-on slows the survivors down with that side objective quite a bit, and they have to deal still with this trap on Quentin's head after they get this full reset through Gift of Pain. And we have 3 hook stages and a survivor on death hook at 4 gens. So man, I did feel like that Existence might be cooking something. Like I said, they might have an ace up their sleeve with this set, and I think we're seeing it. This pig player is doing very well.
Yeah, the pig is just sitting here waiting for someone to walk by to go for the unhook, and it looks like after waiting around, not seeing anybody, oh, the hat trap got off on the first try from Quentin, so after seeing that, they're going to be slipping off and going after a survivor. That does make a lot of sense. That is maybe the pressure you're hoping for not there. And again, survivors all did reset here, so they allowed him some value back. A little bit of a slow blind there, but they do inevitably get it. It is not Champion of Light, by the way, so no extra slowdown on that blind. But Killer is seeming to lose the survivor entirely. For the people coming in onto Vittorio, though, can make that tunnel out a lot harder, but you also have to deal with the hat trap here.
Yeah, definitely. They aren't in danger of going down immediately, thanks to that for the people from Nancy. But yeah, even if they end up leaving this chase onto the Vittorio, that Vittorio player will still have to worry about getting that reverse bear trap off. So we are seeing the tag come in, and even though that totem was found earlier when Vittorio died on it, it's still up. So we still have Hex Ruin doing its thing. We did have a couple Pain Resonance occurrences and hit those gens to regress them a bit. And right now, I do think that our killer player here is doing what they should be doing. They know Vittorio, even though they are the tunnel out, they have to worry about that trap on their head, so they aren't doing any gens just yet. And Nia running into the cactus there a little bit. So Vittorio cleansing Ruin with an active bear trap. Rue, I think with these add-ons and the slow searches, that's a little risky. If they have bad RNG, I wonder if that could be a head pop. But getting Ruin out of the way is also helpful. So if they have enough time to get those searches, I do think it was worth cleansing. But we do see Nia go down and a trap go onto her head as well. And it looks like our killer is picking here. So that'll be hook stage number 4 and maybe another pain res.
So what I will say, and yeah, it is another pain res, so that gen that's about to pop is going to be delayed a little bit. So one thing that's worth noting is that I want to say a while back, Pig actually did receive a nerf to the head trap timer. And even with the tamper timer in play to make it shorter, it's a lot longer than it used to be still. So I think they've got like, what, 2 minutes and 20 seconds to figure it out, but we'll see. If they don't get it soon, they might be in trouble.
I hope I'm not lying to you about this. I'm pretty sure they were going to extend the time on the PTB, but they reverted it. So I don't think the time ever actually got nerfed. Yeah, I don't think the time ever got nerfed. So I'm pretty sure they said never mind on that change. So the head popping is still, unless I'm mistaken, I do think it is possible to happen, because it's definitely not as much time as the survivors. They definitely don't have as much time as they think they do if they're doing totems and taking care of resets with an active trap. It is very risky with both of these add-ons combined together. But I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter, because Vittorio is going to go and end up going down here, and this will be his 3rd and final hook. And we have an elimination. They did pop that 2nd generator, so that is the good news for Iridescent. But we still have 3 generators left, and on top of that, Rue, they're in a 3v1 now with 2 injuries. Okay, now 1 injury, but still an active trap on Nia's head. So Ruin's out of play now. They did get rid of that earlier, but still for the 3v1, this is not bad for the killer. You have one survivor who has to worry about that trap, one survivor who can't really work anything safely because they're injured, and I do think this is 4K territory, unless the survivors have a crazy comeback like we saw last match.
No, absolutely. And Nancy kind of in a dangerous spot potentially as actually though the killers Nancy actually bamboozled the killer entirely and got back around. However, they will hear the killer hair radius in just a moment. So just real quick on the head trap, it is 150 seconds, so 2.5 minutes on the head timer, and the tamper timer removes 20 seconds, so it's actually 2 minutes 10 seconds for the head trap.
Oh, I see. Okay, so maybe was it always like that? I don't know if
I think it used to be shorter.
Not.
I think it used to be a 2-minute timer, and then with the head trap, and then with tamper timer, I think it was 1:40. And they
it could be.
I don't know. Again, if we have any people with encyclopedic level knowledge of the pig, I would love to be enlightened, because again, I like to try and keep track of the changes that they make, but let's be honest, there's a lot of things to this game. There's over 800 add-ons in the game. There's over 150 perks on both sides. Like, this game is extensive. So any encyclopedic knowledge is appreciated.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, either way, regardless, it's still a very big time waster for the survivors, because they have to take care of it, Rue. If they don't, their heads will pop, and when they do take care of it, that's
speaking of head pop,
creative gears slows them down so much. And right now we see a head pop. He is dead. Oh my gosh. Thank you for spectating at the perfect time to see that. So Nia has been eliminated from the trial. She's dead. We're in a 2v1 and everybody's injured, Rue.
That is a spicy one, and we actually saw this earlier today. We had a pick game earlier, and survivors were going out of their way to just ignore the head traps and try and get gens done because they were in such a bad spot. But I'm wondering if the pig was just really well proxied in some areas around there, and they just couldn't get anything. Because now we are looking at a 4K3 coming here from Existence's killer, and that is not what I would have expected on this map.
Me either. I thought this would be on the lower end for stages, but I really just think it came down to these chases. I don't want to give too much unsolicited advice or critique these games like too extensively, but I do think with how these survivors played, if they just played a little more carefully and pre-ran sooner and just had distance on main, a killer like Pig, especially without BAM, if they just run around that main building, they can waste a lot of time if they run early enough. But I do think our Existence killer did catch him out a little bit, maybe without max distance on main, and they didn't really have the clearance to abuse it, you could say. So those chases ended pretty quickly for the most part, and we saw that snowball, especially that head pop, I think was the nail in the coffin. They were already in a difficult spot before Nia's head exploded, but making this game a 2v1 just pretty much, it almost makes it impossible for the survivors to get anything else done. It's really like there's nothing you can do at that point. And it's just very unfortunate that they weren't able to deal with that. I feel like in the Gallows, when we were spectating them a little bit earlier, we were seeing some resets come in with an active bear trap on. So maybe that could have been a mistake as well. They were kind of putting the side objective of the head traps on the back burner just to get resets off, and that could have been a mistake. But also staying injured against this killer and going around the map, searching those boxes is also scary. So you have to just weigh your odds and try to make the best decision. But yeah, Iridescent did seem to get caught out by that a little bit. So Rue, a 4K3, I didn't think we'd be looking at this.
I tend to agree. And yeah, that's the biggest thing, is patience is a huge virtue in this game. And like I said, it's only afforded to you when you have really immaculate comms. You pre-run everything so you don't waste those resources when you don't have to. You just make sure you never get caught off guard. You're always ahead of the game. And
hello, everybody. Welcome back to this Existence versus Iridescent matchup. We're back with the Pig on the Dead Dog Saloon. This is the second trial, so we did see Existence on the killer side get a 4K at 3 generators remaining, Rue. So Blub here for killing for Iridescent does have a very tall ask for this win condition. A tie would be a 4K3, so that's very, very difficult. And we are seeing the first chase come in on our Yoichi player here, that vault coming in onto Shaq. And it's not blocked, so yeah, no bamboozle, just as we saw last game. So I wonder if we'll see this main building get abused. Nice and early Shack pallet drop. and nice and safe survivor play so far. So Rue, this is exactly how Existence wants to play the starts this game. I think if this first chase isn't a 2-tap, they're pretty much on their way to having a win here.
Pretty much. We see they're even doubling up on the main generator. They know that it's a very, very achievable win con if you just go and double up to the safe gens. Crypt is still up. And like you said, you gotta just have to blitz it. You can't really afford to bring Bamboozle into your kit. You just gotta go all out on these gens. And what's even worse is your own pig power, the head traps, are also just not something they gotta get the nomad treatment. It's like you can't bring nomad because that's not gonna help your win condition. Your head traps really don't help your win condition either here unless you get a really early down.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, we have seen a bit of time, like a bit of time has passed. Corrupt intervention is almost over, and we don't even have an injury. We have Yuichi getting chased here again near the shack, is holding W towards Gallows, and runs into that rock a little bit, but not getting hit just yet. Actually just sends it all the way through that pallet and does win that mind game. So our pick player is just going to dash through there without getting a hit, and breaking this pallet, zoning them a little bit, but Yuichi is coming back, still has this pallet to use. We are seeing a pre-drop and a quick vault, and these survivors, Rue, I can almost tell by watching, they have so much flair to them. They're feeling very confident and good about this matchup. Yuichi is just playing this chase very well, winning those 50s, and still no tag, and we're seeing the second generator pop in the distance here.
Yep, I think we see and understand why they chose this set. They know they have a good pick of their own, and they are definitely very well adept at playing this matchup. Now, Pig will try to bloodlust this. No, they're just going to go for the pick, try to zone them back. And Yuichi, like you said, they're a bit of flair. They are more than happy to take the chases back here. You see the generators the survivors are on. They are just milking time from this pick as much as possible. No, do not.
Oh, my God.
This is insult to injury. No, don't do it. Please, no. Stop it. She's already dead.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Like
I'm
I
gonna
said,
file a
that
complaint.
confidence... that confidence is still on display here. Yuichi getting the head on mid-chase. Very good to quick and quiet into that locker when they didn't have a line of sight when the killer didn't have line of sight on them. Winning the 50s on this unsafe pallet here, but is going to get hit. But you see, the thing is, our pick player here has gotten their first hit of the match, but guess what? That just gave this Yuichi distance on main. It almost just feels like a loss either way.
Yeah, I'm about to say 3 minutes, 15 seconds into the game, we have our first tag with Sloppy, and we see in the corner there, that is Nia on one gen, Ace on another gen, and Jake on the third, and they will inevitably go down. You know what? I support this head trap right here. That is a deserved head trap. It's like, nah, that was insult to injury. You're dying, son. I'm putting you in basement. That head trap's gonna pop you out of here. And as we see that hook him in, that not gonna be a pain res, that is going to be 5th generator popping. And I'm not gonna lie, survivors absolutely cooked this match. They played this clean. We're 4 minutes in and we saw all 5 gens pop.
That might be one of the fastest Champions of the Fall games I've casted. So, I mean, maybe this end game will be long, but that was the fastest 5 gens popped I have seen in a little while. And I don't want to take it away from Blub. They didn't pick this set, and they had a very difficult win condition. So we didn't really expect them to pull off a crazy result here, especially because Pig on this map, in my opinion, should struggle. These downs took a while to come in, and that's how it should be. Blub, a lot of these tiles didn't really have much of a chase power. These survivors could just hold W through those dashes and vault the main windows, and there's not really much we could see a Pig player do. But right now, I do want to point attention to the fact that Yuichi has an active bear trap, so he cannot leave through the exit gates. And where is he? Is he?
I think
here?
They're waiting for Hatchet Shack.
Somewhere else. Yeah, I think so too. And Blub right here is instead trying to play for one of these injured survivors here, and they are playing around this rock and body blocking well so far, but they just have to try and reset. Yeah, we are seeing that reset attempt to try to come in around the rock, but Nia leaves a little early, a little impatient there, and they are going to end up taking that down. Who was that? Was that the Jake does get the pallet stun? Oh no, that was Ace. We were so quiet. I thought he was healthy. Ace is just so quiet, but Ace does get the pallet stun there, and we do see some aura reading from Undying. We have Ruin Undying in play, and we do have Boil over here. Ru, do you think this could be flip flop? But no, they don't wiggle.
I mean, it could have been potentially, but ultimately they were in range of being able to get on there. It's not uncommon Looks like they will go down under the pallet. They could get vacuumed out here if they so choose. Now they're just gonna go for the head pop and or the head trap. Not that there's head pop viable now. And I'll be honest, I think Yoichi is just oh, they actually have someone here waiting for this. Oh, that's just mean. Yeah, Yoichi's just chilling out. Yoichi's gonna die.
He's fighting for his life. Do you think he got bad RNG, Rue? It takes a lot of searches here, maybe.
Yeah, I think what happened is they were waiting around that rock for so long for them to exit, and they're like, wait, you guys aren't getting out of here. I'm not gonna get hatch. And they
Uh-oh.
Jake, you want to talk about that?
A little early on the pallet save. Rue, I wonder if your theory is right. If Yoichi was waiting by hatch for a long time and he has to search a few boxes here, I don't know if he has enough time to get this trap off. If it's not this one, he's dead. I don't know if this is his 4th search or not, but if he doesn't get it off on this search, he will definitely have his head pop. We are seeing Jake in the exit gate wasting some time here. Does get pushed out, and Ace does have a trap on his head, but it's not active, so he will be able to leave safely through the exit gate. And Yoichi's dead! That's 3 hook stages! Or 2 more hook stages gone. So I think that was 5, right, Rue? We had 2 other fresh hooks aside from
Yes.
Yoichi, so was that a 5-stage game?